digital landscape, for your business to thrive, you must adapt or die. Welcome to Marketing in the Age of AI, the podcast helping you harness the power of AI and marketing tools to revitalize and grow your business. And now here's your host, marketing expert and author of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI, Emmanuel Rose.
Welcome to Marketing in the Age of AI. I'm your host, Emmanuel Rose. Today, I have a distinguished guest, Justin Rashidi, the co-founder and chief strategy officer at SeedX. He brings a wealth of knowledge from his unique background in science, allowing him to approach marketing strategies with analytical perspective. Under his leadership, critical consulting for over 153 companies, helping them generate over $1 billion in revenue. Justin's into data-driven marketing will significantly enhance our understanding of how we, in our marketing strategies, get into it. Justin, thanks for spending.
Yeah, thanks for having me today.
So is SeedX, and how do I understand what you guys do?
Yeah, I think the easiest way to understand what we do is that we serve two core segments. So we serve consumer companies, and then we serve B2B companies. The way of thinking about us is that we work across, like, not just marketing, but across the entire business. So I think like any great marketing partner is basically a business partner at some level. And so when we're partnering with companies, we're help setting like the goals for what that company wants. We're understanding like their current financial like outlooks, right? So we're working from the business to the finance all the way to the marketing levels. So often with consumer companies, we're talking about like finance-based marketing instead of just like this idea of like ROAS. And then for B2B companies, we're talking a lot about revenue-based marketing instead of lead-based marketing. So all of it really tying back to like financial metrics.
Well, it's cool. And so what is your the marketing part of your program? Where does that start?
When you mean like how do we actually execute on it?
Yeah, like what are you actually for a B2C company?
For a B2C company, again, it depends on the life cycle of a company, right? And so most of the time we're working with companies doing over 10 million in revenue. They already have like a product market established, and they're trying to understand like what are the metrics to help them scale up, right? And so consumer companies basically go through different phases of problems that they'll face, right? So if you're at 10 million, you might only have one or two channels running. Then you'll start to introduce Amazon as like another channel, and then now you have problems because your marketing efficiency has it bleeds over into Amazon, or Amazon bleeds over into the store. You start to introduce wholesale, right? You're in stores, or you have owned retail, right? Each one of these stages have different financial outlooks and applications of marketing, right? And so when companies are coming to us, like they really every company needs to understand like, okay, what are the core goals? What are our core financial metrics? Right. And then from there, you actually apply like a marketing strategy, because a strategy for a company doing 10 million and a company doing 150 million or a billion, like these are very different aspects of whether you want to use how you're thinking about brand marketing, how you're thinking about like different types of tactics.
And then as AI continues to reshape what we're all doing in the marketing area, what are the most significant challenges that you're seeing that companies are facing, and how you help them overcome that?
Well, I think from a marketing perspective, well, for us, like we've actually been talking about AI more from a business perspective than like a total marketing perspective. From a marketing perspective, I think the most unique aspects of AI right now in the marketing perspective is creative generation. Like I think mass amounts of new creative are now possible. How we think about creative is totally different with image generation and video generation. different types of commercials. Like I think there's like a new wave of creative. So like from the cool like marketing perspective, I think the creative part is the most interesting. From like the boring perspective, like the stuff like what people don't want to be doing, I think that's actually where like AI actually is like a lot more impactful in process and optimization.
Yeah. And so what are you doing to help companies outline like their SOPs? And then what do you do once you've understood their SOPs?
Yeah, so with AI implementation, a lot of it's just understanding where inefficiencies lies. It's not necessarily like define like getting the SOP. Usually, what we're first trying to figure out is what are high value tasks that you can basically automate. Most of this, like honestly, the majority of it so far has been in either data reporting, like data analysis, or document like processing. These are like huge areas where the majority of efficiencies I think are currently gained. And
That's
then from
interesting.
there, we
Yeah.
do like actual like then you actually start to outline the steps. What are the actual steps that you do? Like, are there guardrails that you need to put in place? Is there certain accuracy levels that you need to hit? And you can actually like map out better. Like, okay, like this is how like we build an agent, or like what type of agent. Now there's lots of different types of agents, and they have pros and cons between them, right? And so, yeah, usually we're starting with the problem, figuring out like does it even make sense to automate? There's like this great chart where it's like how long does it take like to do it and like whether it like actually makes sense to automate it, right? Based on like if you're doing it daily, weekly, monthly, etc., right? So find high value, and then you outline like what actually happens, and then you figure out like what agent you actually need or what architecture you need.
That's interesting. So you're saying right now really focused on reporting and understanding, well, KPIs, reporting against those KPIs, and then document processing as that one.
Yeah, like a lot of, I mean, like workflows. Workflows are the area that eat up a lot of time, right? And they end up being like the stuff that you have to do to get to the strategic work. You see like an interesting like analogy with coding, where like coding is like the process to get to a product, right? Like, but actually like with coding like being automated more and more, like people are just spending more time like deliberating on how the product should move, what direction it should move, feature testing faster, right? And like the same thing happens in marketing, right? The faster that you can get to like whether there's changes like happening like every day or every month, how you're hitting a forecast, right? A lot of that is data processing, actually. And so you build BI tools and stuff, but then they get like maybe you use them once a month or once every quarter, like when you're reviewing stuff. They don't really provide the insights that you want, like at a daily or frequent, like daily, weekly, monthly. Like a lot of people want daily insights, actually.
Sure.
But it's too hard. It's too hard to pull the data that quickly, and this is where again a lot of value I think can be gained.
So last year we heard a lot of hoopla about agents and agentification, and I'm curious about where you're seeing agents being successful, and then what kind of platforms you're using to help build agents for you and for your clients.
Yeah, so we're actually using like our own proprietary like one, actually, because we ran into a lot of problems actually doing implementations with the current like framework. A lot of the problems with like the current frameworks is that they're either overly technical. I mean, honestly, they're just too technical right now. Like we are trying to bring like agents to mass market, and so right now like the technical implementation is like usually too large for most organizations to overcome. And so are agents useful? I mean, there's kind of like a few questions there, like what platform we're using. We're using our own. And like we're in beta with like about 10 customers now, and we're like seeing success. And so but the actual implementation, yeah, like I think there's like too much hype on workflows and nodes, and it's overcomplicated. It really should be, and this is like my hot take or qualm or whatever with the industry, is that it actually needs to be a lot easier. And the gap of understanding is actually the gap of understanding because it's still coming from like technical knowledge sources. it's too complicated for the like average business to actually get implemented. And even if they get implemented, they're kind of like unsure whether they can even
Sure.
manage it.
Agents take some
Now,
training and they take some management. It's not just a one and done activity.
Yeah, like I'm like our belief is that the current like state of the market in AI is like everyone thinks everyone's can build agents all the time, and that's just like a ridiculous concept, right? Like the same way like you don't manage your CRM, like you have CRM specialists, you have development specialists, you have marketing specialists. Like it's ridiculous to think that everyone's just gonna be spinning up their own AI like all the time. The fundamental skill sets of like developing these is going to become an entire profession. And so we're like a strong belief in AI ops, and we think that the market will move from like the crazy technical layer that it is now into systems that are like more manageable, like HubSpot, like Salesforce. Like you don't manage any of the technical code of HubSpot or Salesforce, right? But you still need a CRM specialist to help you like integrate it correctly into your organization. And so right now, like we're kind of in this chasm where, and this is the software we built. Like we're trying to build like the HubSpot of like agentic use in and allowing it to integrate into companies. And so, yeah, like all of these gaps kind of need to get closed, I think. So we need to have easier like platforms that use it. We need to have more people educated on it. And then I think that organizations, again, will have departments that specialize in people that specialize in prompt engineering, trade-offs between different types of agents, because now there's actually tons of different agents. And this is like something that everyone thinks of agents as one concept, but there's actually like lots of like 5 or 6 different types of agents that you might want to use for different things. And the idea that someone like random, like with no knowledge, is going to build an agent is quite silly.
Yeah. So what are those 5 or 6 types of agents that you're working with right now?
Yeah. So I mean, we call them like different names internally, but like you can call them like V1, V2, V3. Like the most simple one that people really understand is like ChatGPT, which is really just a simple LLM call. Right, like you call to like OpenAI or Claude or whoever like model provider, right? And it's a one shot. It's called like one shot, right? It just provides an answer. It doesn't do anything. Now people have seen ChatGPT where there's multi-planning, right? And so like it'll actually like plan and do the specific things, right? So that's like a second type of agent. And the difference between like these agents is like it allows you to it's a timeline, right? So it's like a simple agent, right? V1, right? This can return in like 10 seconds. It's only going to run for like 10 or 20 or 30 seconds. Like it can be very fast. Like at every stage more, like the timeline for completion increases, right? So like then you can have agents that use tools, right? You can have planning with tool use, right? And then you have these new ones which like have just recently like emerged in the last like they're really like trendy right now actually, which is like context management ones. And what these are doing though is because every agent has a context window. Do you know what a context window is?
The instructions that it's given and its guardrails.
Yeah, not necessarily. So a context window is like how much data you can actually pass to a model before it breaks, right? Okay. So like every model has like a specific amount of information that you can pass, and it's called a context window. And what happens with like certain agents is once a context window gets filled, it blows up. So long running agents actually like struggle, or if you're scraping the web and then all of a sudden it returns like a huge amount of context, right? It'll blow up the agent.
Right.
And so now there's these new agents where they either summarize the context and they keep working, or they offload the context into like basically a little notepad, a file like inside their own like computer, and they put the information in there and then they reference it. And now what this allows it to do is like you have these agents that can run from like quick seconds all the way to like hours long. So like we have like internal ones for our clients now, and they run for like 90 minutes or like 2 hours. And it's really cool actually because they'll generate like we work with a lot of like deep science companies, right? Where like you need technical knowledge of specific fields. And so we have a lot of research agents for us now, where it's like, here's the exact guidelines. This is what you need to do. These are the type of websites, right? And now this actually has reduced like our research time by 50%.
Nice.
And so when we're talking about like AI implementation in companies, like a lot of them, like if we're talking about use case, right? It's like, well, like how fast do you need to get the information back? Like, are you fine like getting like this one report, but it's going to take 2 hours? Or we're working with like a sales team and they need to access information quickly from the like their data warehouse in a timely manner while they're on sales calls, right? And so that's a different type of agent because it needs to be able to tool call plus respond in like a format, like in a timely manner that someone could get it like within 60 seconds. And again, this gets into the specialization of like people where it's like someone needs to understand, I want this agent because it's going to return in this time. It needs to do this tool call and like hit this action, right?
Yeah.
That was like a whole class.
Are you building out a sequence where there's agents that are have specific tasks, and then there's a manager agent, or how are you managing that?
Okay, so this is like a really interesting one, and like we haven't defined like I don't know if there's going to be a core pattern. So even in our own company, we have like a lot of debate on like what they want to see, because in reality, we could chain 4 like long running agents together. So like we do SEO blogs, right? And so there's literally like 3 steps where like each one could run, and it's like research, writing, right? Like SEO specific writing, and then like a quality control step again at the end. Each one can actually run for an hour. Not the last one; it runs like much faster actually. But the first one runs like for like an hour. The second one runs for like 20 minutes. The last one runs for like 10 minutes. But the problem that people want is, do you want an orchestrator? If you like, do you want to verify each step before it gets orchestrated? So like a lot of the times, like right now, like what we're having is like the research agent, like the human still wants to actually verify that before you pass it on to the next one.
Sure.
And so it's kind of like interesting, like you can have an orchestrator, but there's like a lot of like human in the loop interaction where like some people actually like, well, I still like it gathered like 90%, but I still want to review like these 10 pieces, because like then when I review those 10 pieces and I pass to the next one, right, it's more efficient.
You're not going to have to rework essentially.
Yeah. And you don't want to have like an orchestrator. And this gets into like the outcomes, right? Which is like, maybe as like the results improve and this always hits 100%, but it's very rare that it hits 100%, right? Like right now, like even with our research, it's like this covered like 50%. We still spend like probably 30 minutes like reviewing, checking specific things, like double checking a few different research links. Is there anything else, right? And then we pass it on to the next one.
Right.
And so like the idea of orchestration is like this cool idea, like, and technically it's possible, but like what we've seen from like a user interaction standpoint is that it's not necessarily like how people want to do the work yet.
Yeah, well, we're still in a transition time, right? We're still, understandably, we're not entirely trusting the AI to produce accurate work product for us.
Yeah, I don't. This is something like I'm still trying to understand. Like, at what level would someone like automatically want it passed to the next one? And right now, like that, we don't have enough data. Like honestly, like of implementations and understanding like whether like that, like so far most people have wanted to review between steps.
Yeah, I think from my perspective, you want to have that the orchestrator, as you call it, and you want the human to train the orchestrator for as long as it takes in order for it to understand what the human's looking for in order to pass it on to the next sequence.
Yeah, I don't know. I was literally just talking with like a lot of our developers today about like, do we want this or do we want this? And like almost everyone still wants like a pause step before you run to the next step. So yeah, like what we've been doing is like batches. So it's like we do like 20 research like agents like all running at night. Like someone will review like all the research for like a day. So like their entire day, like then reduces from like doing all the research to verifying all the research, right?
Yeah.
Then the next day we run all of the like articles and like, so we're batching like huge amounts of tasks together.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I'm curious what your opinion is of how much longer we're going to have software, and how long is it going to take us to just get to where we're talking to the agents instead of having to interact with software?
It's kind of, I mean, it's already happening, right? Like people like, I don't know, like systems of records, right? Like, so it's like the where data lives, right? Like the system of record for whether it's contact information or a data analytic touch point, right? Like there's going to be some level of us always interacting with those systems. Like on the consumer side, like if we're talking about the consumer side, like this one's like, I have like a different opinion. Like, I don't know if we're ever going to fully trust like AI going to the website and buying for us, because like, I still think that a lot of buying behavior is ingrained in brand.
Uh-huh.
And maybe the agent tells you, yeah, this brand, like maybe when you trust the agent that it knows the type of brands you like, and whether like it verifies as like a very similar brand. But until like we cross like the brand human trust touch point, like I still think that people are going to be like interacting with websites for a while, and then software. I think people, they're happy to not interact with software. Actually, like the number one thing that like people have liked about working with us is that like we integrate across like multiple systems, and they're happy to not interact with any software.
Yeah, I think so too, and I'm excited for the idea of having a few agents that I interact with, and they go and do the work, and then bring me back work product. Right?
Yeah, you review. Like
Yeah.
I've been using them. Like we're trying to use our own stuff as much as possible. So like we're trying to implement like all sorts of interesting like use cases and things to like drive up efficiencies and yeah, it's it's like it's weird because the boring stuff is what drives efficiency. It's not the hot like image generation. Now we're creating 500 images. Like we have done that, but like we still have problems with this because like humans still want to review images. Humans still want to review videos. Like now you have to go edit the images and videos anyways. Like so it doesn't drive, sometimes it doesn't, those ones where it's like cool looking on like the demos, it doesn't necessarily drive the efficiency that you thought, where like the doing a research report, like the processing a bunch of PDFs, finding different types of documents. Like this is boring stuff that like people would be happy to like give away. And it actually takes up a lot of time.
Yeah, I love it. I think that's a smart approach, and that I think is the highest and best use right now, which is letting people do the work they want to do and offloading the junk work to the software.
Yeah, the boring stuff. Like you don't want to go look at Google Analytics and then check the data warehouse and verify this and then check whether this margin was correct, and all of those are great tasks that AI can do, right?
Yeah.
Like why not have it? Even the research one, I was a little skeptical about the research ones, but the research ones with like modern web crawling, like APIs and stuff, it's incredible. Yeah. Like it is incredible, like how much like information you get out, the types of reports it can make, like how detailed it can do, like for landing page development, for SEO, like blog writing, for like all sorts of things. Like it's crazy. Like my level of trust has gone up from like 50 to like 90. Like I kind of trust a lot of what it can do. So little by little.
And did you guys build your own research tool, or are you using something like Notebook?
No. Like yeah. Well, so again, like I can demo. I'll demo the platform after to you, but yeah, like it builds an agent and then it just connects to like web search tools. So there's like several web search tools that will actually just do like you just call and they'll actually do the research. The agent actually knows it has these tools. It calls the tools as it wants, and it generates a report without using anything like Notebook or. And then this allows you to have like very specific like custom instructions like for what you want it to do.
Nice. All right. Well, I think you and I could have a conversation for the next 2 hours, but I know you've got a lot of other stuff to do in your day. Really appreciate your time and your insight. If people want to have a conversation with you, Justin, how do they find you?
They can email me at justin@cdex.us, or people DM me on LinkedIn.
All right, LinkedIn, and we'll make sure your name's spelled correctly in the show notes. We'll be able to track you down. Thanks again for your time, and I hope you have a great evening.
Yeah, you too. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, that's a good straightforward reminder, which is find places in your workflows that are just the boring work or the things that you don't want to do, and then figure a way to implement AI to be able to find documents, process documents, do your reporting for you. I hope that this was a valuable conversation for you to listen to. It was for me. And I hope that you take some time to do some research about how some AI tools can help you win back some of your work day and work week. And with that time that you continue to upskill, that you spend it with your friends and family, and that you get outside into nature, away from the screens. This is Emmanuel Rose, Marketing in the Age of AI.
Thanks for listening to Marketing in the Age of AI. Be sure to subscribe wherever you heard this podcast so you never miss a future episode. Your copy of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI is available at Amazon.com or EmmanuelRose.com. You can also connect with Emmanuel on LinkedIn.